Mike, Eduardo, and Elizabeth. Thank you all for jumping on.
All right. Yeah, we could probably get started. We'll keep on letting people in. We just wanted to say welcome to all of you, all of our teachers, our Special Olympics staff, Desmond for hopping on with us. We've had a couple of talks with him lately, so we figured he had some good things to say. And also, just he's gonna talk for a little bit. If you want to do some questions in the chat, I'll keep an eye on that. And then stay on because we do have 2 autographed books of Desmond's that we are going to do a raffle at the end when he's done talking, and then we'll get that shipped to you. My husband was checking it out. He might try to steal one, but he's not on here. So, so yeah, take it away, Desmond. Thanks, and let's do this.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to speak on this platform with Special Olympics. First, just let me say this. The work that you men and women do is to be applauded and to be celebrated, because what you do, I don't think many people in this world can do. As I was just sitting here thinking about the jobs that you do as teachers and helping the youth that you help, it takes so much time, patience, perseverance, and not everybody is built that way where you can actually sit and be able to do the things that you do. So first of all, thank you for doing what you do, because the population of people that you guys serve need good people to serve them. And obviously they do have good people from everything that Jen and Melissa has told me about you. Jen and Melissa also told me that 2020 just has been a tough year for everybody. For you, for me, for everybody. And as I got to thinking about 2020, I just thought about a time in my life where I had like a really, really tough year. And ironically, 2020 has the same digits as 2002. And when I think about my 2002 and how it started, it was a time and it was a moment in time that I learned a great deal from, but it took a little while for me to learn the lessons of 2002. Probably like it's going to take us maybe 6 months after we get out of this pandemic, maybe a year past the pandemic, when we look back on 2020 and say, man, we gotten better for what we had to go through during this time. But when you're going through tough times, usually you can't see those lessons that we're learning during the tough times. So if you allow me, I just want to talk about that 2002 year for myself. And 2002, I was just coming off of a great season in 2001. It was my 3rd year in the NFL. I was drafted by the Denver Broncos. I just had my best season being in NFL. 25-year-old young tight end, up-and-comer, 51 catches, 6 touchdowns. I'm tied with Tony Gonzalez, a Hall of Famer, for the NFL leagues for tight ends for touchdowns. So for me, coming into 2002 after a great season, kind of probably how some of us came into 2020, just thinking, hey, I had the whole 2020 vision. I had all of these taglines and everything, and you probably had some of the same taglines coming into this year, just thinking it's just going to be an absolutely great year. And then the pandemic hit. But for me, it was a little something different. I came into 2002 with this on my mind. Hey, this is my year to become a starter. This is also my year to get into that $1 million contract range. This is my year to make my mark on this football team and in the NFL. Like me and my wife, we bought a house that year. We started a family that year. And everything was lined up for us just to take off. But as you know, in life, we have twists and turns. And the twists and turns that happened for me and they came bam, 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 back to back. So going into training camp, or even before we got to training camp, now remember my mindset, and it probably was an egotistical mindset, is that I am going to be the man this year. I am going to, like I said, be a starter, get that big time contract, and make my mark on this team and in the NFL. But the first thing that happened was in the offseason, they brought Shannon Sharp back. And for you guys and ladies who don't know who Shannon Sharp is a Hall of Fame tight end. And when they brought him back from the Baltimore, I almost said the Baltimore Colts, but the Baltimore Ravens back to the Denver Broncos, that was the first sign that I was not going to be the starting tight end this year. But that's okay. Shannon Sharp is getting a little older. Only have a few years in the NFL left, maybe a year or two I'll be a starter. But I still have my $1 million contract because I did sign for $1.2 million. So I'm happy about that. Hey, everything is still golden. Going to training camp now. 3 days into training camp, I break my arm, and I still have the scar here to prove it. If you guys could see that scar there, I break my arm, and I have to get a plate and 7 screws put in my arm. So I'm out for 6 to 8 weeks. Okay, I'm not going to start this year. I'm not even going to start the season this year playing football. I'm probably going to miss 4 to 6 games. Okay, that's fine, because I still got my contract, and I still got my opportunity to make my mark on this team. Then the next thing happened about 2 weeks later when camp is over. Everybody in the NFL knows what it means when that guy comes up to you and say, hey, the head coach needs to see you and bring your playbook. When those words are told to you as an NFL player, that means that they're getting ready to release you. Yes, who is this here? Laura, you know. I see you saying it's time to get your stuff, pack up, because you're no longer on the team. And that's what happened to me. I was sitting at my locker, and I had no clue, no thought, no inkling of I could be released. Remember, I just came off of 51 catches and 6 touchdowns. They're not going to release me. I'm the future. I'm the man. Yeah, bring your playbook. Coach Shanahan needs to see you. And I'm just shocked. They released me that day, and that was probably the longest drive that I had to make ever in my life. And it was only about 4 miles to get home. But when I got home that day, you remember, we had just bought a home. My wife is pregnant with twins at this time. And I got to go home and tell her that I no longer have a job. And when I got home and I told her that I no longer have a job, that I just got released, she told me to stop playing. But the anxiety, what happens now? Where do I go from here? Am I going to have another job? What does this mean? We just bought a house. My wife is pregnant with twins. All of that stuff is going through my mind. And you're talking about a time where, I didn't know up from down, left from right, and everything in my life had just shattered, it seemed like. And for me, that seems like what a lot of people are going through right now in the times that we're going through, because no one knows what's next. No one really knows how to deal with this situation. There's a lot of high anxiety right now. Is my job safe? Are we still going to be able to do the same things that we were able to do last year? I had all these plans coming into 2020, not only professionally, but personally. Where are all those plans at now? Am I making the same amount of money that I'm going to make that I thought I was going to make coming into this year? All of those things, I was thinking those same things. But here's what happened. So I eventually got picked up by the Denver Broncos. But I get to the Denver Broncos, they already had a training camp. They already are ready to go into the season, and they drafted a stud tight end. And that tight end, he was well entrenched to be the starter. So I got to the Denver Broncos. I'm not going to be the starter there. Matter of fact, I get to the Denver Broncos, I'm not even playing anymore. So my whole sense of myself being the man, 51 catches, 6 touchdowns, making my mark, becoming a starter, all of that has to go out of the window. I have to reinvent myself. I have to become a different Desmond Clark than what I was in Denver. And here's the part that, looking back on, I think I learned the most from. Not only am I going to not be a starting tight end, but I was relegated to really having to beg to play special teams just to find a place on this team where I can add value. And I really had to go to the special teams coach and say, man, just put me on punt. Just put me on punt return. Put me on something. Just want to play. Just want to make an impact. I just want to be a part of the team. I just want to feel like I'm contributing. And once I got on one special team, I played well on that special team. It led to me getting on another special team until I was on all the special teams. And that's where I made my mark that year. That's where I really, truly made my mark. And when I made my mark there, I felt like, okay, I'm adding value to the team. I feel like I belong to the team. The most important thing for me was that the team and the coaches, they appreciated what I was bringing to the team. And so now we get past, we go through that whole entire year. And I catch 2 passes that year. 2. Remember, I caught 51. I had more touchdowns the year before than I had passes caught this year. And so I'm thinking there's no way in hell someone's going to sign me to be a starting NFL tight end the next year coming up. But lo and behold, I get 2 contract offers. I get one from the Miami Dolphins that was minimum with incentives, and then the Chicago Bears, which they were giving me a long-term contract to be the starting tight end for the Chicago Bears. And it blew me away. It really blew me away. And here's what they said. They said this: the reason why we want to sign you to be a starting tight end is because we know that you're a good tight end. But what you showed us is that you have great character because of what you did on the special teams playing for Miami with the Miami Dolphins. You showed us that you love what you do. You love this sport. You love being a football player. And that in itself got me the starting position with the Chicago Bears, along with being a pretty decent tight end. But it was more so about they seen the character and just the excellence that I displayed in my job. So how does that relate to you and what you're doing? Talking to Jen and talking to Melissa, I know they told me a few things that kind of was going on and some of the struggles that you may be having right now. One, just like me, when I was making that big time contract, when I went to the Miami Dolphins, I was making a third of what I was going to make with the Denver Broncos. And I've heard there's been layoffs because of budget cuts, and times are just tough right now. So everybody's trying to do anything that they can right now just to stay afloat. And what that does, it puts pressure on all of you. I don't know if anybody had to take pay cuts, or I know some of your colleagues are not around anymore because there's been layoffs. Now you got to do more with less. And that's kind of how I felt when I was playing with the with the Miami Dolphins. But here's the thing: regardless of budget cuts, regardless of, hey, is my job in jeopardy or what I got to do? I got to teach more. I got to do more. The thing that I really focus on is really choosing my standards over my feelings. Because at that time, and like at the time that we are now, everybody's in a tough spot. Everybody's in a tough spot. And who would fault anyone for saying, you know what, I feel such and such. Well, I don't want to give my full effort today. I don't want to be the person that I was yesterday because I'm not getting the same thing that I got yesterday. But here's what I'm gonna tell you: when you choose your standards over excellence, choose your standards over feelings, it pays off in the long run. Because I'm a firm believer that your character shows when the chips are down. Anyone, when things are going good, anyone can be that person that has high standards, that have a standard of excellence, that come to work with a smile, that comes to work and cheers everybody up and lending a hand where a hand is needed and being a good teammate. But true character is shown when, hey, things are not going as smoothly as they used to go. And now who's going to step to the plate? Who's going to keep having that standard of excellence? After that time in Miami and getting to Chicago and just looking back on them times, I felt like that mindset that I took of, I don't care if I have to play special teams, 1 or 2 or all special teams, as long as I get on the field, my mindset is going to be the same mindset that I had going into that year. I'm a damn good football player. I'm a damn good tight end, and my goal is to be a starting tight end in this league and to make my mark. Once I got back on the field, that was my mindset. So my standards didn't change, even though my position might have changed, even though some of the things that I was looking forward to, like my pay changed, my standards never changed. And I know right now some of us are trying to figure it out, and we're getting attacked from all different sides. I hear, teachers are lazy. They just don't want to go to work. And you're going to get all of that stupid stuff, because people don't understand. People don't want to understand. And if you had it your way, you'll be in the classroom teaching all of your students if times would allow for that, or even if you were allowed to do that. But here's the thing, like I said, standards over feelings. We know who we are. We know what we do. We know what we mean to our people that we have an influence over every day. And every day that we come to work, I'm just going to tell you, choose your standards over your feelings. And us as human beings, I know we hear it. We got to deal with it. But always standards over feelings. And you guys are in this thing together. So, lost my train of thought. What I was going to say is, we in this thing together, and we have so much going on. But when we look at life, think about this. When we look at life, and this is something that I don't really get as human beings, we can all sit here and just nod your head if you agree with me. In life, we're going to have up and downs, right? See, we can all agree on that. But when we have the downs, why don't we embrace the downs like we embrace the ups? Because we know that they're coming, correct? We know that they're coming, and we are in one of those downs right now. The thing that I like to tell people the most is, when you hit these down periods, embrace them. Embrace them, because here's what's going to happen. The people that embrace these down moments are going to be the people that at the end of this cycle are going to be most prepared to take advantage of all the new opportunity that's going to come out of this. Embrace this moment, because when you embrace it, what you do, now you open up yourself to new ideas, new ways, how to get the job done even better. If we just get stuck in the old ways, well, this is how it used to be, well, we can't do this anymore, or we can't do that anymore, instead of just embracing what we have right now. All I had was special teams at the time. That's it. That I couldn't go out and catch passes. I was a third string tight end. I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I couldn't do what I had been doing for the first 3 years of my career. What got me the big contract. I couldn't do any of that. I had to embrace being on special teams. So what are your special teams right now as a teacher? What are you having to do different now that you need to embrace? Because once you embrace it and not fight against it, now you open yourself up to just go in and just kill it. To just go in and just do your job and be at the standard that you know that you should be at every single day. And we talked about standards over feelings. And I want to challenge everyone here. I don't know if you have something already where you have your standards or your purpose or whatever that may be written out, but I want to challenge you to write out what your standard is. Write it down. I have mine right here. And if you ever got a letter from me, you'll see it. I have it right here written out. And it starts off by saying with excellence being the standard. And I chose that word excellence because when you hear the word excellence, there's only one connotation of that word. Every word is arbitrary, but excellence only have one connotation. What's your standard? What's your standard? Write it down and live that standard every single day. And here's why I chose excellence, because I think excellence is really all about habit and attitude. It's all about having my mindset the right way in a very abundantly positive mindset, always, all the time, and really just focusing on the habits of doing things the right way all the time. I have a saying that goes, whatever you do, um, anything you do should be how you do everything. And what I mean by that, anything that you go and do, anything, any interaction, any way you teach, anything that you do should be done the same way all the time based on your standard. No, no corner should be cut. Anything that you do should be how you do everything. So just think about that. Excellence is an attitude and excellence is a habit. And here's something else that I'll say also. Don't focus on the things that you can't do right now. Because there's so much that we can't do, and we understand that. But we have no control over that. None whatsoever. Focus on the things that you can do. Don't let the things that you can't do interrupt the things that you can do. Because there is so much that we can do, but if we start focusing on all the things that we can't do, it's going to cloud all of this goodness over here that we can have by thinking about the negative. Continue to think about the things that we can do. Focus on those things. And I'm going to end with 5 really just what I believe are the principles that for anybody, if you follow these principles, you're always going to come out on top. I don't care if you're a teacher. I don't care if you're an athlete. I don't care who you are. These 5 principles I really, truly believe in. And the first one is this. All you have is your name and your word. Marty Hickman, Bailey Brenner, Lauren Pubens, I hope I said that right, Mitchell Holcomb, Katie Denvenuto, I hope I said that right, Danny Chitwood, Becky Hedrick, Sandra Pons. And I'm saying all of these names because when I say those names, there's something that should come with that. And what I mean by that is when you go to, let's just say Starbucks, when you go to Best Buy, or when you go to the Ramada, when you buy a pair of Nikes, when you think about these different brands, it comes with a certain connotation. And when I say all you have is your name and your word, that is your brand. Patricia, when they say your name, there's some type of emotional reaction when someone knows you, Patricia, that they get when they say Patricia Hindell. So what do you want that to be? What do you want your brand to be? La Fawanda, did I say that right? Go ahead.
LaFonda.
LaFonda. Okay,
Yes.
I'm sorry about that.
No,
Oh,
you're fine.
there's no A in between the W and the N. Okay, LaFonda. When someone says your name, what is that going to mean to someone? And here's the thing, you can't control that meaning, but what you can do is influence that meaning. And for me, I am very, very intentional about how I interact with people, because I know when someone says Desmond Clark, I want them to say a few things. I want them to say that, man, being around that guy makes me feel good about myself. I want them to say, man, that's a nice guy. I want them to say, that's a sharp guy. I want them to say that's a caring guy. I want them to say all of those things. But in order for someone to say those things, I have to be very intentional about my interaction with them to make sure that they feel all of these things that I want them to say. So Becky, what do you want them to say about you? Elizabeth, what do you want them to say about you? Your students, the people, the parents, the other administrators around. What do you want them to say about you? And I learned this lesson from my high school football coach. He was asking me to get the team. I was a quarterback, and he was asking me to get the team all together in the spring when the coaches couldn't be around. I said, yes, coach, I got them. We was going to do 7-on-7 practices. I got you. A week and a half went by. I haven't got the team together not one time. And I was dodging my coach. And just one time he caught me, and I was not always 6'3", 250 pounds, but he was 6'2" and about 300 pounds at the time. And I was about 6'2", 185 pounds in high school. And I'll never say that my coach choked me. I'll just say that he applied pressure to my neck, firm pressure to my neck. He didn't choke me though. I love the guy to death. And after he got finished swearing at me for about a good minute and a half, he said, son, all you have is your name and your word. And once you lose that, you lost it all. And he said, what do you want your name and your word to mean? And it didn't register to me till later on in life is that that's my brand. And each of you have a brand. Abby Tyra, you have a brand. When they think about you as a teacher or administrator, they think about you in a certain way. So always keep that in mind. Number two, the power of relationships. Man, this is huge. I remember my mom said, I grew up, my dad got off and got into drugs, and that kind of destroyed our nucleus family. And for a while we went homeless and didn't have food on the table, didn't have lights in the house, didn't have a refrigerator in the apartment that we eventually stayed in. But I always remember my mom telling us, as long as we have us, we have enough. And when she said us, she was talking about her and my two brothers at the time. I have three brothers now, but my youngest brother is 12 years younger than me, so he didn't go through some of these times. But as I grew up, I just always recall her saying that as long as we have us, we have enough. And later on in life, I just got to thinking, we came through so much with so little resources. What if now I build this entire family out with everyone I come in contact with in this whole world and this whole universe? What if I make everybody extended family members? What can't I get accomplished then? If I accomplish what I accomplished with the small unit and the lack of resources that we had coming up as kids and young adults. And there's a few key things that I really attribute building powerful relationships to. One is being just, and I'm sure that you know this because of the nature of what you do every day, it's just being non-judgmental and curious. Because we see each other, I see, you see me as a 43-year-old man, but what about the 43 years that it took for me to get here to see what you see right now? To understand why I have the thoughts, why I have the certain sayings that I have, why I talk about certain principles, why I think a certain way, why I do things a certain way, and getting that understanding. I think that's one of the keys to building great relationships. Another key is to always be challenging and encouraging at the same time. I really believe us as humans, and you know this as teachers, us as humans, we want to be challenged because we always want to be at our best. But as we are challenging people, we also have to be encouraging people at the same time. And there's a fine line between that, challenging and encouraging, challenging and encouraging. And if you can be that person that can toe that line, man, I guarantee you there are going to be a lot of people that want to be around you because people love to be pushed in the right way. And then another thing with also being challenging and being encouraging is being consistent and being reliable. If you could be challenging and encouraging, being non-judgmental and be consistent and reliable with people, you'll make the greatest relationships out there. And just think about this. Consistency and reliability. How many of us have been let down before? We all have been let down. Just the simple thing of doing as you say that you're going to do and being consistent makes a huge difference. Makes a huge difference, especially with those students that y'all teach every single day. You may be the last resort of somebody being consistent in their life. Consistency and reliability. Man, the power of relationships, and not even with the kids, with the faculty and as you guys come together, because you all are one team battling this whole situation that we have right now with COVID-19. You teachers, the administration there, y'all have to band together and make sure that y'all stay strong, and hopefully you all are becoming tighter because of this and forming greater relationships and really getting to know each other better, because we just have to band together and get through this time together. Number 3, a commitment to excellence. And I keep talking about this word excellence a lot. I love the word. And really, it's all about bringing skill with your talent. And this is something else that I learned in high school. In high school, my coach Jay is Coach Jones, Coach Joe, Coach Joyner, Coach Jackson, my middle school and high school basketball coaches. Coach Jones, he was our basketball coach. And here's what was our basketball team. We had a 6'1" point guard. I was 6'2" playing the 2 guard. We had 2 6'6" forwards and a 6'11" center. This is all in high school. So usually when we walked in the gym, we would just point at you, look at you, mean mug you. We pretty much won the game already just by walking in the gym. Because behind me, I got 6'11", you might as well say 7-footer behind me. And all I got to do is look at him like, okay, if y'all want some of this, go see Big Boy back here. So we won off intimidation alone. But we were very, very, very talented also. We had a runner-up for Mr. Basketball. That team actually won the state championship 2 years after I left. So some of those guys still were on the team. But here's the thing, coach used to practice us so hard. And one day after practice, he said this to us. He said, do you understand why we practice so hard? And me being like a 16, 17-year-old, like just airhead, not understanding. In my mind, I'm like, no, because when we walk in the gym, we win. We were ranked number 1 the whole year. When he said this, like I said, most of the stuff don't register at the time, but later on in life it did. He said this. He was like, we have so much talent here that if we practice the way that we should practice, our practices should be harder than the game. Just think about that. We had so much talent that our practice should be harder than the game. And he was like, you got to commit to excellence. And think about us. We all have talent. We all very talented teachers, very talented administrative people. Let's push our students and push the people who are relying upon us to commit to that same excellence, because they all have talent. But sometimes it takes us, the people who they are looking up to get them to realize the talent that they have and push them to commit to that excellence. And push them, make them practice hard, because it's going to pay off at the end. Number 3, being self-motivated. This is a lesson for me that got me 12 years in the NFL. My first year as a rookie, like I said, I played with the Denver Broncos. They just came off of 2 NFL championships. Shannon Sharpe was on that team initially, and I was looking at those guys thinking it was no way I was going to make this team. Not a single chance that I was going to make this team. I played receiver in college, never had played tight end before. And I was dropping passes, running the wrong routes. I couldn't block anybody. I was just terrible my first week or so in training camp. And then the scout pulled me over, and this is what he told me. He said, you need to stop comparing yourself and thinking about the other guys on the team, because they're better than you. And I'm thinking, okay, that's a backhanded kind of way of saying things. But what he meant and what he said is, I need to start to now focus on myself and ask myself these 2 questions. How good do I want to be? And he put his hand up like this. And how good are you now? And he said, every day, I want you to focus on something, just one thing, that every day you continue to close the gap with how good you are and how good you want to be. How good you are and how good you want to be. And I see teachers as being coaches also. And the lesson that I got from that is I stopped comparing myself to other people. And when I'm coaching and when I'm talking to my kids and I'm talking to other kids, is don't worry about what's going on around you. You be the best person, the best athlete, the best student that you can be. And if you are the best that you can be, you're going to put yourself in position to win more times than not. I think a lot of times, especially in this social media world that we're in right now, you got everybody looking at everybody and what everybody else is doing, and we always kind of feel like we don't measure up. But here's the thing: if you are the best that you can be, there's no other measure, because there's nobody out there like you, Marty. There's nobody who brings anything to the table like you, Sandra. There's nobody that can bring what you bring to the table, Scott. There's nobody that as impactful in the way that you impact students, Sherry. Jamie, there's only one Jamie. Chris Miller, there's only one Chris out there. There's only one you, Nicholas. There's only one Nicholas. Everybody brings their unique gift to the table. So there's no comparison. And if you bring your unique gift to the table and you bring it full force every day and you bring it as best as you can bring it every day, there's no comparison out there. Because you're not trying to do what the next person is doing. They already got that lane covered. You're coming to bring what you bring to the table. And what you bring to the table is significant because no one else can bring it besides you. So I need you to bring what you bring to the table. And then the last thing that I'm gonna leave off with is this: having a purpose and a passion for what you do. And when I retired from the NFL, it took me about 2 years to kind of understand where I wanted to go after that. But here's what I was able to do after about a year and a half and kind of getting into real estate and doing some other things. I just sat down with myself. I said, Desmond, I do talk to myself sometimes, really, I do. I said, Desmond, what are you going to be about? What are you going to do with the rest of your life? And I sat for about 2 weeks, and I was just writing and I was just journaling. And I looked at everything that I wrote, and I was like, I want to boil all of this stuff down into one sentence. And that sentence is right here, as I told you guys on the note card that I sent out. I'm gonna read it to you. It reads, with excellence being the standard, because I always felt like you have to have a standard for whatever you do. With excellence being the standard, my purpose is to enhance the lives of others through any expertise or resource available to me within reason and with respect to my family, whom are primary, making every effort to transform strangers and associates alike into extended family members. Remember what I told you? Hey, my mom told us if we have us, we have enough. So if I have everybody, what can I gain from that? What can I give? What can I receive from just having an extended family? So that statement became my purpose statement. And I'll challenge you, just like I challenge you to write down what's your standard, I'll challenge you to write down what's your purpose. What are you getting up for every day? Because I'll tell you, during these times when it's difficult, when we can't go outside, when we can't do the things that we used to do, the one thing that has carried me through this is that purpose statement right there. That's been my navigational tool for about 7 years now. And I don't care where I'm at, I don't care what I'm doing, that's the purpose. Whatever I have, expertise or resource, my purpose is to help others live the best life possible. And so how does that work for me? Well, I'm in a service industry. So I serve people. And if I serve people well enough, I create value for myself. So I want to make that real clear that this is how I now feed my family, by serving other people with this focus. And the other thing that's really, really important about having a purpose statement, and just think about this statement when I say it, it's easier to get up and fight for something every day than have to get up and fight through something every day. Let me say that one more time. It's easier to get up every day to fight for something every day rather than have to fight through something every day. So the tough days that I have, I look at that statement and say, okay, let me find 2 to 3 people that I can go out and serve through what I do on my daily journey. Who can I go out and serve? Who can I be in contact with that I can make their lives better from what I do every single day? And that's my purpose. It's written, and that really carries me. So those 5 things, I think if you really focus on those things, your name and your word, who you are, what you're about, and basically it comes down to that's your brand. What is your brand? What is the tagline for your brand? What does it say to people? Focus on building those great relationships, not only with the students, but also the people that you have to work with every day, the people that you have to be at home with every day, and just people in general. Makes life a whole lot better because the more people that you have, the more resources you have also. 3, commit to excellence. And I really mean this for you is to get those students that you teach every day to commit to excellence, challenge them, push them. Number 4, be self-motivated. Again, there's no one who could bring to the table what you can bring to the table, and be so confident in that you just walk in every day. And Marty, I'm bringing Marty to the table today. I'm bringing Melissa to the table today. I'm bringing Jillian to the table today. And guess what? Can't nobody else do that but me. So you better love it because ain't nobody bringing it here like I can bring it here. So I'm here. I'm gonna give it to you. And then the last one, write down that purpose statement and make sure that it's something that you can get up for every day. And I'm just gonna go back really quick. The reason why that's my purpose statement, I told you a little bit about my early life. It was a struggle. I mean, I had a dad that was on crack. We went homeless for a little while. When we did have a home, we didn't have the normal amenities in there. It was time that my mom couldn't pay for us to play football, and other people paid for us to play football. Coaches got us back and forth at home. Mom was working. She was doing everything that she could do to keep us off the street. I had teachers that were invested in me. I had people in the community that was invested in me. I just had a lot of people that helped me to get to where I am. And that's why that purpose statement that I have, that's why it's like that, because I believe I owe it back to those people to help other people get to where they're trying to go, because they helped me get to where I'm trying to go. So whatever your purpose is, whatever's going to get you up and have you ready to fight another 24-hour round. Well, we don't stay up for 24 hours. We sleep. We got to go to the corner every now and again. But for however long you're at work and you're fighting that good fight, make sure that purpose is going to make you get up every day ready to fight that good fight.
Desmond, I had said a thing in the chat that said that people can unmute themselves if they had any specific questions for you. But I also wanted to let you know that there are several accolades in the chat for you about positive relationship building and aspects. And so I will make sure that we get all of these to you so that you have them.
Yeah, I see all of them in there right now. I was just going through just to make sure we didn't have any questions in here.
There's no questions in there, but if anyone has any questions right now, feel free to talk or anything you want to say.
I had a question for you. Hi, I'm Sandra.
Hey, Sandra.
Do you have any type of recording or anything with your positive energy and win-win mindset for your Olympic athletes, your students that are in middle school, elementary level?
I do. I just went out to Vegas and recorded this like 3 weeks ago, but it's being worked on. Once, and if Melissa, Jen, you guys can remind me to come back and get that to you, Sandra, I will. So it's probably going to be a couple weeks before it's ready. But yes, that's something that I just recently did.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to watching it and hearing your message.
Yes. You're muted, Melissa.
Oh, no, I was just talking to my daughter. Don't worry, it's after school. But we could actually do, and then we have a couple more minutes, but Jillian, if you want to pull up the wheel and we can do the raffle of the books. Someone else just said your message is fantastic. Thanks for sharing. A lot of Bears fan students. So, all right.
Well,
All right.
the wheel is spinning. A quick question: how have you been working with any high school athletes, male or female, with your good message?
Yes, I'm actually teaching I'm coaching my my daughter's high school basketball team, and recently I had a chance to interact with a group of young men in the Detroit area who all have aspirations to play Division I football, and they took the book and made it into a curriculum, which I was blown away by. And I had a chance to share some of these messages with them for them trying to get to that next level and get to college and beyond. So I've had some interaction, but most of my interaction comes like this with more adults and corporate America.
Thank you.
I will add in that we are, Desmond is going to hopefully join us for the end of our leadership certification that we're going to host the live sessions at the end of that. And we're hoping that Desmond joins us for a small portion of that to be able to talk to all the students who have completed their leadership certification. So we're super excited to hopefully include him in on all of that stuff as well.
All right, Desmond, before I spin the wheel, there's one more message for you from Chris Meller. He says, thanks, really enjoyed getting to know you and your story today. He loved you as a player. You were his favorite Bears tight end growing up. Glad to see you are still a Bear at heart. So
Yes.
that, without any more further ado, let's spin this wheel and see who wins. Oh, Nicholas Kramer, let me get you added. There we go. Shuffle one more time and let's see who our winner.
We have two, you guys, so we're going to do two raffles.
All right, Beth Sauser. We do ask, we're going to remove Beth from the wheel so she only wins once. We do ask that if you are a winner, you stay on at the end of the call so we can get some more information from you to get this shipped out. Okay. Last winner for the day. And who do we have? Oh, Marty Hickman.
Nice. And actually, oh, go ahead, Desmond.
I was gonna say, can I add this? I know when doing these type of events, you have so many people on that not everybody wants to speak up and maybe ask a question or share something. So if you guys and ladies have pencils or pens, please write down my contact information really quick, and then Melissa and Jen, you can share it also. If there's something that you say, hey, I wanted to ask him, but I didn't want to share with everybody. Yeah, don't be shy with it. If there's something that, hey, you just want to ask me on the side, or there's something that you just didn't want to bring up in front of everybody, give me a call, shoot me an email, and I'd love to talk to you.
Awesome.
I just want to say thank you. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just want to say thank you because I don't know about everybody else, but as a teacher, I know that we're kind of down and not necessarily depressed, but kind of, you know, down in the dumps with everything that's going on. So thank you. That was very, very much needed. So we appreciate you.
Yeah. I used to say this. I used to say this all the time. And I still say this part. I don't know why people listen to athletes, but I'm glad that they do. Because there are so many other professions out there that mean so much more to the fabric of who we are as a people. And being a teacher is one of those things that, me personally, I feel like you guys don't get enough credit. You guys don't get enough applause. You guys don't get enough acclaim for. It's tough to teach. Like, I just think about me in high school. Who the hell wanted to teach me in high school? And I know there's a lot of people out there like me. And I look at like coaches, and like, my son is 9. I couldn't coach my son at 9, at 8. Who wants to do that? It takes a very patient and passionate person to do what you do. And that's why I started off like I did, because I just wanted you to understand that from the beginning, the level of respect that I have for you and what you do, I mean, is way up there with the tops of the people that I respect. Tell you a really quick story, and it's probably why I have a lot of respect for teachers also, is Miss Wright was my 3rd grade teacher. And I made, and back in those days, it was like E's, G's, S's, and N's, I believe it was. And I made all E's in her class. And I learned all of my timetables, multiplication, 1 times 1 all the way through 12 times 12. I love that lady. And I was 29 years old, and I was doing a golf tournament. And she didn't tell me she was coming. After the golf tournament, she just walks in and say, "Hey, I'm gonna get up and speak at your tournament." I was like, okay. So she got up and she was giving me a award for the things that I do in the community. But what blew me away is when she said this. She said, "This boy right here," and when I was telling you guys that sometimes it takes somebody else to see the talent in someone, a lot of times those are the teachers. She said, "This boy right here, I knew in the 3rd grade that he had something special about him. And ever since he left my class, I called his 4th grade teacher, his 5th grade teacher, his 6th grade teacher, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 7th, 8th. And then once he got to high school, I called his high school principal. And I told the high school principal, if this kid doesn't go to college, you'll be sleeping on the couch for the rest of your life." High school principal was her husband. And I always wondered why Mr. Wright would always come and make sure that I was all right. Like, just check on me, say hello. I mean, he was like that I thought he was like that with everybody, and he probably was, but I just felt like he took a special interest in me. And not knowing that and learning that at the age of 29, it brought tears to my eyes, because I knew where I came from, and I know what it took to get me to where I was going. And for her to take the time and take interest in me as a 3rd grader, and make sure that she followed me all the way through high school, and then to come back when I'm 29 years old and tell that story, man, teachers are special. Teachers are absolutely special.
Hey, Desmond, just real quick, I agree with you 100% about teachers, and I'll get a copy of the book, but I want to take the copy of the book that I want and give it to LaFonda. She can have it and share it with her class. So if you guys can make arrangements for LaFonda to get that book, I'll get one on my own. Awesome presentation, and I couldn't agree more about what teachers do for all of us. They're heroes nowadays.
Hey, so Melissa and Jen, I'm gonna put you in a tough spot right now. I ordered 25 additional books for this one organization, and they're sending them back. I'll send those books to you, and then you got to choose the 25 people that you're going to give them to. That's why I said I'm going to put you in a tough spot.
We'll do it. We'll get that wheel going again. We'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
So everyone hold off on purchasing it. We'll send the links to purchase it, but we'll hold off. We'll put this in raffle, and we'll do it again. So we'll include the link, but thanks, Desmond. We've got
Thank you, Desmond.
5 more chances.
They called me 2 days ago and was like, "Hey, do you know you sent 50 books?" I was like, "Yeah." It was like, "Well, we only ordered 25. I was like, "Okay, send the other 25 back to me then." So yeah,
Awesome.
I'll send those to you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Well, I think that's it. If anyone else doesn't have anything, we just want to say, like, on behalf of Special Olympics and Desmond, like, we know that you guys, I was a teacher for 10 years in Chicago Public Schools. So I know that it's, I mean, I honestly think about you guys every single day because it's crazy out there, but I know that, like, we're getting stronger, going to be stronger coming out of this. Like Desmond said, it doesn't matter who it is, right? Like, it's affecting us all one way or the other. So we're here for you. We're in this together. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us. We are going to send the recording out to you, so feel free to share with your staff who weren't able to make it, or your family members, husbands, whoever can use a little bit of motivation right now. With the recording, we are also going to send the link to our next webinar on October 14th, which is e-games and virtual. So to keep our athletes and unified partners engaged virtually too. And we'll send out the raffle winners for the other books, and then go from there. So any questions, we'll follow up, and thanks, and enjoy the rest of your day. Desmond, thanks again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Have a good day.
Bye.